In this video, I'm going to break down a proven strategy that can help turn your dream of homeownership into reality. No shortcuts, no fluff, no gimmicks. And if you stay with me until the end, I actually want to have a free resource available to you that can help make your journey even easier. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Thomas Baker and I'm a New Jersey licensed realtor, and I've been licensed in the state of New Jersey for the last 4 years. And I'm also a former English teacher. I actually had the pleasure of teaching middle school English for 5.5 years. And with that being said, I just have a passion for knowledge and information and education. I have a desire to help people get further along with information that they may not have had otherwise. And with that information, hopefully they can be able to realize some of their dreams, such as home ownership. So if you find this information valuable to you, make sure you subscribe and keep following along and see some other videos that I have plastered across the channel, because my goal is to help people just like you get further along in real estate. So let's jump right into it. Now, real estate, home ownership, like anything that requires that is just simply identified as hard. It's not something that you can just fall into. Like most people, it's going to require a little bit of work and process and diligence. So the first thing that I say anyone should do when they're going to try to buy a house or become a homeowner is really assess where you are. And there's really two things you have to understand when you're talking about assessing exactly where you are. The first thing is assessing your income and your employment. Now, are you single? Do you have a single income household? Do you have a double income household? Are you employed? Are you full-time employed? Are you part-time? Are you self-employed? Are you married? Are you in a relationship? Are you guys purchasing together if you are married and in a relationship, or is it going to be one person doing the purchase? There's a lot of different things you have to assess, and you have to assess honestly. You kind of can't skate around some of these things. And then secondly, just to kind of double back on some of the income aspects of it, is really assess your financial picture as a whole. Where are you financially? If you're not even employed, then you kind of have to start there. If you are employed, how much are you bringing in? How much do you have saved up? Are you liquid? How much debt do you have? What's your credit score? How is your credit history? When that's a separate video that we can get into another day. But all these things you have to look at, and look at them critically and look at them honestly, because I'm telling you, the mortgage, and we'll talk about this later, but the mortgage company is going to look at these things. Your realtor is going to look at these things, some of them. And, really what you're looking to do is assess your buying power first, very early on, before even getting into the mortgage process. So again, just assess where you are honestly. Look at your income, look at your employment, look at your savings, look at your credit, and put all these things into their proper perspective. And then once you do that, you're going to move into step 2 of the process, which is to devise a plan. Because I don't know if any of you ever heard this quote, but a goal without a plan is just a wish. So a lot of people are like wishing, I wish I could buy a house, I wish I could do this, I wish I could do that, while never setting forth the effort to devise a plan in order to make that thing a reality. So what you're going to do after you assess where you are is you're going to make a plan. Now, let's say, for the sake of this example, you have 2 income household, you're married, your credit is good, both of your credits are good, and you have some savings, but you have a lot of debt. So your plan would be maybe get out of debt, start bringing down that debt, because one of the things that's going to happen when you go to get a mortgage is one of the main things you're going to look at is your debt to income ratio. So how much debt do you have versus how much income that you bring in? So maybe that's your first step. Maybe you don't have any debt, but you don't have enough income, or maybe you don't have enough savings. So your plan might be to get a second job in order to bolster up some of your income, or maybe cut back a little bit and start budgeting to increase your savings. There are things that you can do based on, once you assess where you are, then you'll be able to figure out what plan you can set in action to get to where you're trying to go. Maybe you have a good amount of savings. Maybe your income is fine and you don't have debt, but maybe you just got to fix your credit. Maybe you had a hiccup in the past and you took a hit to your credit score. So maybe that's where you are. Wherever you are, the most important thing that you have to realize is, once you make this plan, after assessing where you are, you have to understand that this is going to be a complete mindset shift. It's going to require sacrifice, and it's going to require that you do something that you have never done before, because you're trying to get somewhere that you've never been. Buying a home, becoming a homeowner, taking this giant step in life It requires a different mindset. So you have to adopt that mindset and understand that first and foremost. Now, why do I say that? Because you got to identify your why, right? Why are you trying to do these things? Why are you trying to get out of debt? Why are you trying to get more income? Why are you trying to build up your credit score? Your why is maybe you want to get your family into a better neighborhood, and the way to do that is by buying a house. Maybe you're the first person in your family that has ever been able to purchase a house, or maybe even thought about purchasing a house. Whatever your why is, identify that and let that anchor you. So again, if you're trying to save more money and you're cutting back on things, it might hurt initially, but your mindset and that sacrifice is telling you that my why tells me this is why I'm going to continue to do this, no matter how I feel about it. One of the things that I've been seeing a lot on social media is this quote. I saw it like months ago, but I've been seeing it all week, and I think it's very pivotal into this process, which is stick to the plan, not your mood. Stick to the plan. Forget how you feel about it. Forget how you feel about maybe not being able to take that trip that you've always taken. Forget about how you feel about not being able to go out to that favorite restaurant that you used to go out to every week. Forget about, not buying the latest phone or not having the newest car, or whatever the case may be. Stick to the plan, because your plan identifies your why, and your why is what's going to keep you anchored. And then once you realize the plan, once you actually succeed, and you what's the word, you achieve the goal, it'll all make sense. You don't have to, and now your mood is completely different because you actually did something that you said you were going to do and sought after. And lastly, I would say, give yourself time. Like, this is not one of those things that like can happen overnight. Like, you really have to give yourself time. You have to give yourself time to save money, or you have to give yourself time to produce more income. You have to give yourself time to fix your credit score. You have to give yourself time to even find a house. Like, once this process is a process for a reason. So just let the process play out, and again, stick to the plan, not your. So once you devise a plan and you've decided to stick to it, and now you're ready to actually go out and start looking to buy that house, your financial situation is good, so on and so forth. Now you can start the actual process and learning what that process is. First thing, hire a realtor. A lot of people think they can go out and buy a home on their own, and you very well can. Like, it's possible. But I would say to you that it's so much easier and a lot better of a process to hire a realtor. Here's why. Three simple reasons. Number one, as realtors, we have what's called a fiduciary duty to our clients, which means that our job is to do what you hired us to do, which is, in this case, find you a house that you can buy. But that's a blanket statement. Outside of that, there is submit an offer for you, go through the contract with you, facilitate the process in a way that you come out unscathed and you get what's fair to you. Outside of that, we also have access to the MLS. Now, the MLS is an acronym for the Multiple Listing Service, which is simply where all the houses on the market across the country are listed. Now, the difference between that and Zillow is very simple. Zillow or Redfin or Realtor.com or any of the other what we call scratch sites, they are compiled of all of what the MLS produces. The thing about Zillow and stuff like that is it's not always up to date, whereas the MLS, it is our legal obligation to make sure that everything on there is up to date and accurate. So you might see something on Zillow that you want to go buy on your own, but it may have already been under contract, it may have already be sold, and you wouldn't know that because Zillow is not up to date the way that you think it would be. Whereas if we see a house on the MLS and you say you want to go see it, we can see that it's either available or it's not. So just that, we have a heightened sense of access, a higher level of access that you wouldn't have just on your own. And then lastly, which I think is extremely important, is we have relationships with other realtors. Unfortunately, a lot of times, realtors may not take you as seriously if you don't have a realtor to represent you. So that's just three simple reasons why you should hire a realtor once you start your process of actually shopping for a home. The second thing is you need to get pre-approved for a mortgage. Notice how I didn't say pre-qualified. Now, I know a lot of times when people are looking to shop for things, or you open your mail, you'll get a letter that says you pre-qualified for a credit card, or you pre-qualified for a loan, or you pre-qualified for this. And it'll say something like, up to a certain amount, whatever the case may be. But you still have to go through a process and apply for that actual loan. So what the process that I'm talking about in applying for the loan, that's what you need to go do. You need to go shop for a mortgage. You need to get approved for a mortgage up to a certain with a number attached to it, and a letter from a mortgage company that says ABC Mortgage Company approves John Smith for the amount of $500,000. That is what you need to get in order for you to actually go out and purchase a home. If you don't have that, then any good real estate agent or any good realtor really won't take you shopping for a home, because at that point you're kind of just wasting time. Because let's say you go see a home that's $350,000, but you don't have a pre-approval letter for any amount, and you want to go put in an offer. Guess what? You got to submit that pre-approval letter with that offer. And if you don't have that letter that approves you for that amount, no one's going to take that offer seriously. So you got to get that pre-approval letter. You got to go through the lending process and get a mortgage company to back you and say, hey, these people are credible. I see their financial information. I see their bank statements. I see their work history, whether you're self-employed or full-time employed, W-2 employed, whatever the case may be. I see their tax situation. I see how much debt they have versus how much income they have. They want to factor in all that stuff, which is why in the beginning, I said you got to assess your situation and then make a plan to improve your situation if it needs to be improved. Because once you get into the hands of the mortgage company, they're going to dissect all of that. And that is when all that stuff really matters. So if you show up good there, then they can tell you, hey, John Smith, you're good to go. You're pre-approved for $500,000. You can go shop. And once you find that, now here's the other thing too. I don't want to forget, I don't want to leave this out. Pre-approved, but then like I said earlier, liquidity. You're going to have fees and stuff that you're going to have to pay in order to purchase a home, and we'll get more into that in a separate video. So not only are you going to have get pre-approved for that mortgage amount, you're going to have to make sure you have money to actually, handle these transactions when things come up. But again, we'll get into that in a separate video. So then the last thing that you need to do after you get pre-approved is simply start shopping. You hired your realtor, you have your pre-approval letter, now you're ready to go. And now you're in a position where you can actually go buy that home. So hopefully this is where you go out with your realtor, they start sending, you tell your realtor what you're looking for, 3-bedroom, 3 bathrooms in this area, blah, 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 blah. And then they start sending you homes, and you go start viewing those homes, and hopefully you find one that works for you. That realtor submits an offer on your behalf, and then boom. Now, that's a general overview of how the process works. But like I said, if you stick around to the end, then I would have a resource available to you that can really help you solidify this journey or head down this path of home ownership and make it more of a reality for you. So by doing that, by you making it to the end, here's what I'm going to do. If you click the link in my bio, there is a resource available to you that will help you become a homeowner by taking you step by step through every process that I laid out, fully free, available to you, one-time download. All you have to do is click the link in my bio. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you watch this next video, and happy shopping.